ASCII here for Nerf TV, bringing you our first bite of Destiny. Some games are just clearly going to be a success, and when you're the developer of the hugely successful Halo franchise and such innovative games as Marathon, it's probably going to be your new title. Destiny is the latest game from Bungie, an RPG first-person shooter with an open-world science fiction setting. Set about 700 years in the future, mankind has been given a hugely powerful technology which has allowed them to leave Earth and colonise other planets. This power came from the Traveller, a giant moon-like being which came to Earth centuries before. With the arrival of the Traveller, mankind entered a golden age, spreading out far into the solar system, but it didn't last. An event known as the Collapse has seen these outer colonies destroyed and mankind forced back to the last remaining city of Earth, and we're on the brink of extinction. The Traveller now hovers above the city and gives the city's protectors great power. You play as one of these guardians of the city, the last defenders of the human race. Mankind's former colonies have been taken over by hostile alien races and are now approaching the city. Your task is to stop the threats to mankind before you're completely wiped out and reclaim what we've lost. So let's be frank, it's not a big step away from Halo. Aliens are kicking our butts and we need to fight back for the use of some heavily armoured superhero types. And the game certainly looks a lot like Halo in its art style. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, I just want this to be a new IP, not Halo without the Master Chief. Destiny is an always online multiplayer game. However, this is not to say it's an MMO. While it has many similar qualities, the game is more of a shared world shooter. Unlike an MMO, the game will not have servers. This means that you will not be in the same world as the same people all the time. The game instead uses an on-the-fly matchmaking system to drop players in and out of your game. You can then interact with them and team up with them if you want to stay together. The players will be working together in the open world, and it looks like the competitive PvP will be left purely to a more conventional, arena-based competitive multiplayer outside of the main game. This is an interesting design choice in the world of FPS, where player versus player is so central. It means that other players you're matched with will be working alongside you as you fight NPCs. This feels more similar to design choices made by ArenaNet when making Guild Wars 2, and when creating more of a cooperative experience rather than competitive. It will be interesting to see how it works out in an FPS though. It does mean that the game could potentially have a competitive esports scene if they decided to go down that route, but part of me would like to have seen some PvP in the open world. But I can see how that would be difficult to fit in with the story. I suppose the best we can hope for is that enemies have complex AI and that keeps it challenging.
We got a runner!
Okay, I'm on him.
The locations for the game are not just on Earth. You will also be travelling to other planets located within our solar system, each with their own maps and styles. Different planets seem to have been taken over by different species of alien, and they've colonised them in their own individual ways. Most planets have remnants of their time under human occupation, but their new residents have set up their own strongholds and defences. And above all, these worlds are huge. From the demos we've seen, these giant expanses of lands are open to you as the player, a big change from the on-the-rails Halo series. I hope that the story will still be strong though. The problem with open world titles is often the central story becomes washed out and there's no real depth, something I felt was a big problem with Skyrim. With the Halo series, Bungie did a great job of getting the lore into the game and creating a fleshed out universe, and I hope they can do that a second time around.
Must die. As the creeper that girdles the tree trunk.
Like most great RPGs, you'll have races and classes to choose from, as well as an extensive customization options for your armour, your weapons, abilities and skills. The races are Human, Awoken and Exo. Humans are basically what you would expect, Awoken are your typical elf-style race, and Exo are more the large, powerful, bulky ones. They fall into standard tropes you would expect in an RPG, but with quite a nice sci-fi twist. However, they don't seem particularly unique from each other. They all seem humanoid with full body armour, making it hard to distinguish, at least at first glance, who is what. I'm sure by playing the game it will be possible to spot the differences, but I've always been a fan of distinctively different races in my RPGs. You'll also be able to choose between Hunter, Titan and Warlock as your class. Rumours have been around that there might be more classes unannounced, but nothing's been confirmed. All the classes have their own abilities and armours as well as other attributes. The Hunters are your recon and stealth class, the Titans are your heavy mech soldiers, and the Warlocks are spellcasters. As you can expect from the makers of Halo, Destiny will be packed full of weapons and vehicles. The developer takes a step away from the standard 2-weapon system used in their previous titles at most FPSs, and instead opts for 3 weapons. The primary will be your most versatile weapon, assault rifles and the like, secondaries are more situational like a shotgun, and lastly the final weapon is all heavy at dealing big damage, and most likely with limited ammo. We know that weapons and armour can be customised. During the E3 demo, we saw weapon upgrades including increased accuracy and handling, as well as some other traits like exploding bullets or incendiary rounds. Armour will work in a typical style of most RPGs, with different pieces for each body part that can be interchanged to change both the look and the defence of your character. Supers have also been introduced. These are high-powered attacks that, like weapons and armour, can be upgraded. It's most likely these powers are granted to the player from the Traveller. There are at least 2 different types of super, one with a fast recharge rate and good power, and one with some serious power but a much higher cooldown. All of this seems to give quite a lot of customization available to your character, both in appearance and playstyle, which should keep RPG fans smiling, whereas the explosions and gunfire should keep the shooter in us feeling quite warm and fuzzy. Destiny has some great potential, and Bungie certainly has the money and experience and the time to make a great game. Part of me worries that it will have too many similarities to the Halo universe however, and as a result it will be compared, and that's a big shadow to get out from under. Destiny is scheduled for release in 2014 with predictions landing in the 2nd or 3rd quarter. It's coming out on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4 with copies also available for the PS3 and 360. I've been ASCII, you're watching Nerf TV, subscribe for more coverage of Destiny and many other great titles, and thank you for watching.